From the worst player on paper making a 10-shot comeback to a last-minute miracle putt sealing the deal. These are the 10 most unbelievable comebacks in golf history. And first, we start with number 10. This man was at the top of his game, ranked 4th in the world, when suddenly everything came crashing down. Not because of injury, not because he lost his swing, but because he got caught in one of the biggest financial frauds in history. This is the story of Henrik Stenson and how he fought back from rock bottom. The year was 2009, and Stenson had just won the Players' Championship, cementing his place among golf's elite. But behind the scenes, a disaster was brewing. Stanford Financial Group, one of his main sponsors, was exposed as a massive Ponzi scheme. In one devastating blow, Stenson lost over $8 million, money he'd earned through years of blood, sweat, and tears on the course. The psychological impact was brutal. How do you focus on golf when your life savings vanish overnight? Stenson's game collapsed. He plummeted to 230th in the world rankings. Most players would have been finished, but not Henrik. What happened next? One of the most remarkable comebacks you'll ever see. Through sheer determination, Stenson rebuilt his game piece by piece. And in 2013, it all came together in spectacular fashion. Not only did he win the FedEx Cup and its $10 million prize, poetic justice if there ever was any, but he also claimed the European Tour's Race to Dubai title. That's what I call the ultimate revenge story. Moving on to number 9, we've got a comeback that'll make your jaw drop. The 2006 Kraft Nabisco Championship. Karrie Webb was facing a 7-shot deficit in the final round. 7 shots. That's basically impossible to overcome in a major, right? Wrong. Here's the scene. Webb's coming off her first winless season ever on the LPGA Tour. The drought's eating at her. She's sitting in the locker room before the final round, reading a local newspaper. Get this. The paper's talking about how Annika Sorenstam, who's 10 shots back, has a realistic shot at winning. Webb looks at that and thinks, well, if she's got a chance from 10 back, I've got a chance from 7. And then she just goes absolutely ballistic. She's making birdies left and right, but still needs something magical on the 18th. Webb's 116 yards out, a distance every pro knows by heart. She needs something special, and boy did she deliver. The shot lands, takes one bounce, and disappears into the cup for eagle. The crowd goes absolutely insane, and she's running around like she's won the lottery, high-fiving fans in the gallery, jumping into her caddy's arms, completely out of character for this usually reserved champion. But here's the thing, she hadn't even won yet. Lorena Ochoa forced a playoff, setting up an even more dramatic finish. Webb, still buzzing from that miraculous eagle, stayed ice cold when it mattered most. A perfectly executed 7-foot birdie putt sealed one of the most incredible comebacks in LPGA history. Next up, number 8, and we're at the 2004 MCI Heritage Classic. 9 shots back. That's what Stewart Cink was staring at when he teed off in the final round. Nobody comes back from 9 shots down, right? Well, somebody forgot to tell Cink that. Let me paint you a picture. Cink starts his round almost 2 hours before the leader, Ted Purdy. He's so far back, most people probably thought he was just playing for prize money. But then something magical started happening. He birdies the 2nd and 3rd holes, then an insane 20-footer for eagle on the par 5 5th. The momentum's building. Suddenly, this impossible dream started looking very possible. Cink's not done. He makes consecutive birdies on 9 and 10. The whispers are starting to spread around the course. After his only bogey at 11, he responds with more birdies at 15 and 18. The crowd's going nuts as he pumps his fist, watching that final putt disappear. Meanwhile, poor Purdy's watching his lead evaporate like morning dew on the greens. He's got a chance to win it in regulation with a birdie putt inside 10 feet on 18, but the pressure's too much. The ball slides left, and we're headed to a playoff. When the dust settled, Cink had fired a scorching 64, forced a playoff, and then won it with an incredible shot from a waste bunker. 9 shots. The second biggest comeback in PGA Tour history, breaking into lucky number 7. And here we've got Steve Stricker's story. And let me tell you, if you want to talk about resilience, this is your guy. Back in the late 1990s, Stricker's won twice on tour. Everything's looking up. Then suddenly, his game completely abandons him. By 2004, he's lost his tour card. His career is basically on life support. So, what did he do? He went back to basics. And when I say basics, I mean practicing in a trailer in Wisconsin, in the winter, in temperatures that would make a polar bear think twice. If you were at Cherokee Country Club during the winter of 2005 to 6, you'd hear this constant thwacking sound coming from a trailer at the foot of the driving range. That's Stricker, pounding balls into the snowy distance, checking his form in a mirror over and over again. He was doing this the old-school way. No sports psychologists, no high-tech swing analysis. Just him, his father-in-law, a former University of Wisconsin golf coach, and tens of thousands of practice balls. He finally spots the problem, a flying elbow that's ruining his swing, and fixes it through sheer repetition. And after that, Stricker didn't just come back. He came back better than ever. In 2006, he vaulted from nowhere to third on the money list by improving his scoring average by nearly 2 full strokes per round. Between 2007 and 2012, he won 9 tournaments. He became known as one of the most consistent players on tour. They even gave him the Comeback Player of the Year award in 2006 and 2007. No other athlete in any major sport has ever won Comeback Player of the Year in consecutive years. Now that's what I call a true comeback. So here we are at number 6. It's the 1978 Masters. Gary Player, 42 years old, is 7 shots behind going into the final round. Nobody's giving him a chance. But Player, he's about to put on a show for the ages. It's Sunday at Augusta National, and Player starts solid but nothing spectacular on the front 9. 3 birdies and a bogey. Nice golf, but nothing that's got anyone thinking historic comeback. Then something clicks. The Black Knight absolutely catches fire on the back 9. The roars start echoing through the pines as Player begins his charge. Birdie at 12, birdie at 13. The murmurs are starting to build. Then comes 15 and 16. 2 more birdies. The gallery's going crazy. But Player's not done yet. He saves his best for last, drilling 1 more birdie on 18 for a back 930. That's a tournament record tying 64. Now he's got to wait. For 40 agonizing minutes, Player sits in the clubhouse at 11 under while the leaders try to catch him. Hubert Green has a chance. He's 1 stroke behind Player on the 14th. Makes birdie on 15 to tie Player. But then, a 15-foot putt for par. But disaster strikes. A 3-putt bogey sends him back to 10 under. Green steadies himself with pars on 17 and 18, but it's not enough. Player has done it. At 42 years old, he's won his 3rd green jacket in one of the most spectacular Sunday charges Augusta has ever seen. It's time for number 5 on our list. This is probably the best comeback ever for die-hard Tiger fans. And yes, we're at the 2019 Masters. Now, if you want to talk about comebacks, this isn't just a golf comeback. Think about where Tiger was just 2 years earlier. Mugshots plastered across the news, back surgeries that left him barely able to walk. His career was supposedly over. The greatest player of his generation, reduced to almost nothing. But Tiger had other plans. The final round at Augusta that year was pure drama. Francesco Molinari's in the lead, Brooks Koepka's lurking. But there's Tiger, methodically working his way through the course like it's 2005 all over again. Then, the turning point. The 12th hole, Golden Bell. Molinari's tee shot finds the water. A double bogey. Suddenly, the door swings wide open for Tiger, and he doesn't waste a second. On 15, Firethorn, Tiger sinks a birdie to grab the lead as Molinari falters again. The 16th hole, Redbud? Oh, this one's for the highlight reel. Tiger hits it so close, it's practically a hole-in-one. Just a little tap-in birdie, and now he's firmly in control. When that final putt dropped on 18, the roar could probably be heard in space. Woods carded a 70, finishing at 13 under par, just 1 shot ahead of the pack. 11 years since his last major. 14 years since his last green jacket. His 5th Masters title. His 15th major championship. And beyond the stats, this was a victory for the ages. Or, as Tiger might say, not bad for a guy who was almost traded in for a golf cart. Breaking into the top 4, we've got the 1966 US Open. Billy Casper versus Arnold Palmer, and if you think you've seen collapses in golf, you haven't seen anything yet. Heading into the final round at the Olympic Club in San Francisco, Palmer held a 3-shot lead over Casper. By the turn, that lead had ballooned to 7 strokes. 7. Palmer's got one hand on the trophy, and people are already talking about him breaking Ben Hogan's open scoring record. Even Palmer himself is thinking about it. All he needs is a 1-over on the back 9 to make it happen. But Casper? Oh, he's not reading that script. While Palmer's thinking about records, Casper's laser-focused on one thing: winning. And what happens next is almost impossible to believe. Casper starts heating up on the back 9 with a methodical approach. Birdie on 13, birdie on 15, then 16, then 17. He's shooting a blistering 32 on the back 9. Meanwhile, Palmer's unraveling. Bogeys on 10 and 13, followed by a string of missed opportunities. He limps home with a 39. By the time they walk off 18, Palmer's 7-shot lead is gone, just like that. The following day, it's playoff time, 18 holes to decide it all. At first, Palmer looks like he's bounced back, taking a 2-stroke lead at the turn, but Casper isn't letting this one slip. His steady, consistent play wears Palmer down. By the back 9, Casper's in control. Palmer falters again, and Casper pulls ahead to win by 3 strokes. Moving to number 3, and here we've got Nick Faldo at the 1996 Masters. Greg Norman had a 6-shot lead going into Sunday. That's practically insurmountable, right? Then, Sunday happened. Norman had led the tournament every single day, entering the final round as the favorite to finally claim his first Masters title. But golf isn't won on paper, it's won on the course. While Faldo puts on a clinic of precise, methodical golf, shooting a bogey-free 67, Norman's game completely unravels. It starts with a bogey on 9, then another on 10. By the time he reaches 12, disaster strikes. Norman's tee shot splashes into Rae's Creek, and he walks away with a double bogey. The collapse continues with more bogeys on 13 and 16. Meanwhile, Faldo, he's a machine, not a single mistake. Every swing seems effortless, every putt perfectly calculated. By the time they finish, Norman has shot a 78, a full 6 over par for the day, and his once commanding 6-shot lead has completely evaporated. Faldo finishes with a composed, masterful 67, winning by 5 strokes. It's not just the worst collapse in major championship history, it's one of the greatest comebacks, and Faldo's ice-cold precision made it look almost inevitable. At number 2, we're going back to 1960 for one of the most significant U.S. Opens ever played. Cherry Hills, Denver. Arnold Palmer's 7 shots back starting the final round. Here you've got Ben Hogan, the aging legend, Arnold Palmer in his prime, and a 20-year-old amateur named Jack Nicklaus. But between all of them, Palmer announces he's going to drive the first green, a 346-yard par 4. Everyone laughs. Then he actually does it. His bold drive not only shocks the crowd, but sets the tone for what would become one of golf's most legendary final rounds. He closes with a 65, marking not just an incredible comeback, but a changing of the guard in golf. The king had arrived. What makes this even more historic is the setting. You've got 3 eras of golf colliding. Ben Hogan, the seasoned icon, Jack Nicklaus, the amateur on the brink of greatness, and Palmer, the charismatic star who played fearless, aggressive golf. And finally, number 1, the mother of all comebacks, the one that makes all other comebacks look like child's play. The 1999 Open Championship at Carnoustie. Paul Lawrie, 10 shots behind going into the final round. Most people aren't even paying attention to him. He's ranked 159th in the world, playing on his home turf, but given absolutely no chance. All eyes are on Van de Velde, who begins the day with a 3-shot lead. Victory seems inevitable. But in golf, nothing is certain. As Lawrie quietly starts climbing the leaderboard with a flawless round, the cracks in Van de Velde's game begin to show. Lawrie birdies the 2nd, the 4th, and then the 7th. Meanwhile, Van de Velde bogeys the 11th and 12th. The gap is shrinking. Carnoustie's brutal conditions are taking their toll on the leader. But Lawrie is thriving, firing an incredible 67 with 6 birdies in one of the toughest final rounds in Open history. By the time Van de Velde reaches the 18th, Lawrie's score has put him in contention. But Van de Velde still holds a 3-shot lead. All he needs is a double bogey to win. What happens next is the stuff of legend and heartbreak. Van de Velde steps to the tee, still aggressive, but his drive finds the rough. His 2nd shot bounces off the grandstand into knee-high grass. Now, under pressure, he attempts a risky 3rd shot, only to find the infamous Barry burn. Fans watch in disbelief as Van de Velde removes his shoes, steps into the water, and considers hitting out of the hazard. Chaos reigns. Eventually, he takes a penalty drop, reaches the green, and triple bogeys the hole to fall into a 3-way playoff with Lawrie and Justin Leonard. And this is where Lawrie seizes his moment. The playoff starts and the nerves of the home crowd are palpable. But Lawrie is unshaken. He plays steady, controlled golf while Van de Velde and Leonard struggle to recover. He pulls away on the 17th with a clutch birdie and wins by 3 clear shots. The home crowd erupts as their local hero completes the unthinkable. He became the first Scotsman to win an Open on Scottish soil since 1931. Oh, and before you go, you'll love the next video we've got lined up. Enjoy!